Hi and welcome to this new video from helituning.com, and as you can probably see, this video is going to be about an Outrage kit, and it's actually the new Outrage 90 Nitro. And one of the first things you notice when you open the kit is that there's a brand new Outrage crying towel, if we can call it that, for you to mop up your machine with and that kind of stuff. So the first thing that you notice when you get into the boxes in the Outrage kit is that they've done a really good job with the packaging, and I'm going to show you some of that now. So this is one of the trays in the kit, and you can see they've used this kind of foam insert approach to package the various bits for the build. We've got some Allen keys here and the paddles underneath there, main rotor head here, blade grips, swash plate, feathering shaft and the main shaft, and it's all really nicely packaged up. But there's a further two trays as well with this type of packaging. One of them has other parts for the frames in it. So this is this one here. You've got your bearing blocks, I think this is part of the engine mount, elevator A-arms, some frame spacers and that kind of stuff within there. And then there is a third tray, this one here, and this has some of the flybar arms and flybar cage stuff on it, the washout base, and some bits for the tail. This is part of the tail gearbox, and this has got bevel gear in it for the torque tube drive. And you can see this has got an Outrage O on it, which is a new touch, not seen that on an Outrage kit before. There's some monitoring going on the kit to identify it as an Outrage machine. But really good job of the packaging. It's going to make it really easy to find bits. They're not going to get lost, roll off the tail or anything like that. So it should speed up the build, and it's just a really nice way to label it all up and make it easy to find the pieces that you want to put together. So that's the first thing I'm going to show you. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is some of the CNC parts from the kit, because Outrage has really upped its game with regard to the quality of the CNC on this new kit. If you look at this rotor head, it's really nice work. And you can see where it's been machined, so these aren't cast parts, these are proper CNC cut parts, and it is really nice. There's no sharp edges to it, it's just really well done. Chamfered edges, very good indeed. The same for the blade grips. They've gone for this kind of black and silver effect. I've got the head button here because I've done some monitoring on the head button, as you can see. Outrage on there. And also on the swash plate itself as well, we can see across the front of the swash plate we've got Outrage on there. And again, it's the kind of the black and silver effect. Really nicely put together and nicely done. And this is a adjustable swash plate as well, as far as I can tell, so you can actually adjust the swash plate as it wears. Okay, the next couple of things I've pulled out here. This isn't the whole thing, but this is just the end of an elevator A-arm. And this is a change on the Outrage models. So far they've all had a anti-rotation slider on them for keeping your swash plate in phase, and it's now changed on the Outrage 90 to an elevator A-arm, which should provide a much nicer way of adjusting the phasing on the machine. The other thing which I've never seen before is this washout base, and what's been done on this, and you can probably see there's some differences on the side here, and what these are these are bearings built into the side of the washout base, and when your head block pins come down through here, they basically run on these little bearings instead of just wearing in a groove down the side of the washout base. There's actually a bearing, or 4 bearings each side, which now run up and down those pins. So this is an attempt to stop the wear that you get in a washout base, and things become sloppy as the slots get bigger from wear. And this is a way to tackle that. I've never seen that before, and another little bit of innovation on an Outrage machine. Okay, just going to show you a few of the other bits in the kit, just to give you an idea of how the other things are packaged. The original Outrage Velocity 50 kit came with this kind of vacuum formed bag idea for the parts, and that's now also the way they're packaging stuff in the Outrage 90. We've got the tank here. The reason I pulled out the tank is on the Velocity 50 there was a problem in that you couldn't really get to the bung on the tank because it was mounted in the middle. It's now been fixed and there's a new tank for the Velocity 50, but on the 90 you can get to the tank very easily. You can get to the bung, you know, you haven't got to pull the whole tank out to service that. And also this is an offset tank as well, so the idea is that on one side of your helicopter you've got a muffler which is a little bit of weight, and the tank is offset in the frames to offset that weight that you have on one side of your helicopter with some mass of the tank and the fuel. So you know, nice idea. We've got the clutch in here. Over here this is the clutch and the bell for the clutch, some engine mounting parts, and then of course over here we've got the fan, which is a plastic fan, and the fan shroud. Something else just to quickly show you is the main gear, and this is a Mod 1 main gear. Some nice big teeth on there, so you shouldn't have any problems with stripping of gears on this. It all looks pretty good, nice and straight moulding on the gears, and a pretty solid one-way bearing in there as well. Looks very similar actually to the one-way bearing you get on the T-Rex 700, but yeah, really nice high quality bearing in there. And then the last thing is another vacuum form pack here, and this has got the rear drive gears for the torque tube and the gearbox, the rear gear, or the front gearbox for the tail drive, and some other bits and pieces there. So that's how the rest of the stuff is packed in the kit. You don't get main blades in the kit, but you do get tail blades, and you get these set of carbon tail blades. With regard to the mainframes, I haven't pulled these out of the packet yet, but basically this is your outline of the mainframes, so you can see, you know, how they go. And then these are you've got the bottom tray underneath here, tail fin and horizontal fin. But also with this you'll find that there are some frame strengtheners as well, and that's this little packet here. And these go in particular places on the frames just to stiffen up and strengthen the frames, you know, where they would otherwise be weaker, to, you know, double the thickness of the frames effectively in specific places to give it a good amount of strength. So, you know, nice to see those, you know, in the kit. And you know, we haven't got a weak frame set, we've got a nicely braced, thought through set of frames. Okay, getting on to the last couple of things to show you now. This is the bag that has the boom struts and the boom and the torque tube within it. I just wanted to pick this out. We've got a nice chunky set of boom supports here. A different monitoring on the boom. This is an aluminium boom rather than a carbon boom, which is good because carbon booms tend to be more flexy and don't provide a stiffer tail. And we've got the usual idea of I don't know if you can see these on the camera in here, but the usual idea of bearings inside a cup on the torque tube, which go down inside the boom and hold it in place. So the last thing to show you is the canopy. Okay, and here it is. This is the canopy. Try and get this nicely on camera for you so you can get a reasonable idea of what it looks like. It's a pretty good paint job. There are places on it where the masking of the lines could have been a little bit better, but aside from that, the actual spray job and the lacquering on it is very nice indeed. It's a little bit thicker than the Velocity 50 canopy. When you look at it from the front, you know, it's a slightly fatter machine. It's not as thin as the Velocity 50 canopy was, but it's a very, very nice paint job on there. And with this nice sort of pinky red, it's more of a red than pink. I know on the camera it comes out a little bit pink, but it's actually more like a sort of a very sort of bright light red when you look at it in the flesh, and that will show up really nicely in the air, and should give this a reasonable amount of visibility. And it's actually a reasonable size canopy as well for a 90. It's very similar in size to the T-Rex 700 canopy. I know that on the Velocity 50 most people thought the canopy was very small, and this is definitely bigger and you know, what we're used to seeing on a 90 sized helicopter. Okay, so that's the overview video, and I'll now get on with building it.